More than 100 people are dead, some 5,000 wounded after a massive warehouse explosion in Lebanon's capital of Beirut. Video showing a man being rescued after he was trapped under debris for 16 hours. At this time, it remains unclear if it was an accident or possibly a deliberate attack, but authorities say nearly 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate were being stored at the site. Gavino Garay has the story.
An earth-shaking blast tore through Beirut on Tuesday, killing dozens and injuring thousands, officials said. The blast, caught on video by those nearby, occurred at the site of a burning fire near the port in the Lebanese capital, throwing people miles away onto their backs, ripping balconies off buildings and sending glass flying, witnesses said.
We heard the first explosion and went to see what happened. I didn't have time. I didn't realize there would be a second explosion. The glass exploded in front of me.
We were at home. We heard what sounded like fireworks. We thought it was a container in the port that was on fire and they weren't able to put it out. A few seconds later, we were flying through the air.
The explosion, described by many as intense as an earthquake, could even be heard and felt as far away as Cyprus. While no group has claimed responsibility for the blast and Israel has denied involvement, Lebanese Prime Minister Hassan Diab swiftly demanded accountability for what he called a catastrophe.
Those responsible will pay the price for what happened. This is a promise to the martyrs and to the wounded. This is a national commitment. The facts will be revealed about this dangerous warehouse that has been there since 2014.
Lebanon's interior minister said initial information indicated highly explosive material seized years ago that had been stored at the port had blown up. The minister told an Arabic TV station ammonium nitrate had been in storage there since 2014. Reuters video journalists captured scenes from the aftermath, residents scrambling to drive the injured to nearby hospitals, already overwhelmed with victims. It was not immediately clear what caused the initial blaze on Tuesday that set off the blast. The site of the explosion could be seen burning and smoldering as night fell, with the death toll expected to rise.
Joining us now to further weigh in on this devastating situation and explain what may have happened is Senate Chairman of the National Iranian Congress, Amir Fakhravar, and Israeli journalist Tal Heinrich, who is based in New York. Tal, what happened here?
So according to what we're hearing, I know that President Trump also used the word attack to describe what transpired at the port in Beirut. But from what I'm seeing in media outlets in the Middle East and also the terminology used in Lebanon itself, this was not an attack. It seems to be an accident involving some negligence. As we heard in the piece that we aired before, it seems to have started at a warehouse in the port that caught fire. And then the fire spread to a different depot, which contained high explosive, this large stockpile of ammonium nitrate, and then the explosion took place, and the Lebanese Prime Minister is saying that those responsible will pay the price, and we're already hearing at this point that some officials from the port in Beirut were put under house arrest.
Yeah, you know, Amir, all of us look on the Middle East, and we know the powder keg that it is. Is there more to this story?
Oh, it's a lot more than that. First of all, about it. Is it an attack or not? If you are asking me, yes, we can call it an attack by Hezbollah in Lebanon. How? Because everybody they know the Hezbollah in Lebanon have been created by Iranian Revolutionary Guard. After the revolution in Iran in 1979 in south of Lebanon, they created this monster, and right now it's a huge monster which is creating a lot of problems for the world. Hezbollah loves to use ammonium nitrate a lot. They have been doing it. They have been storing this material.
Yeah, Amir, I appreciate everything you're saying. What would be their incentive here? What would be their message? What would be their cause here to create this explosion?
First of all, they stored this in the warehouse in that port port of Beirut, because everybody, they know the port of Beirut is totally controlled by Hezbollah, their militia. Even the Lebanese government, they don't have any control on this port. It's totally under control of Iranian IRGC and the Hezbollah Lebanon. And then maybe they wanted to just move some part of this explosives because we are heading to the court of Rafiq Hariri under the supervision of the United Nations. After 15 years, finally, we want to know how Hezbollah killed Rafiq Hariri. And they wanted to just do the small explosion, but it went out of control, and it's right now the...
All right. Now,
Beirut is
the president yesterday told reporters that he believed the explosion in Beirut was an attack and not an accident. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I've met with some of our great generals, and they just seemed to feel that it was. This was not some kind of a manufacturing explosion type of event. This was seems to be, according to them, they would know better than I would, but they seem to think it was a attack. It was a bomb of some kind. Yeah.
Okay, Tal, you'd already mentioned there's no evidence, at least at this point. What kinds of things are you looking for as far as the rest of this story is concerned?
So on top of what Amir said, he's very much correct. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations said last year to the Security Council that this port in Beirut has become Hezbollah's port. Israel has been tracking shipments of weapons by Iran to Hezbollah through this port. They've been using commercial maritime companies to do so. So, in fact, Hezbollah is very much in charge of everything that's happening at this port. So definitely following this explosion, it brings up a lot of questions and speculations regarding Hezbollah. And you know what? Even if Hezbollah is not directly, let's put it aside for a second, involved in this particular accident whatsoever, we do know that this terror group does have other depots with explosives and weapons all across Beirut and in different cities around the country. So maybe population in those areas will now speak up against having those dangerous materials in their vicinity.
Okay, Amir, I only have like 15 seconds. Do you think there'll be a retaliation for this? And if so, from whom against whom?
It will be the big price that Hezbollah should pay for that one. But I posted a video on my Instagram page about it's Hassan Nasrallah's voice when he's laughing and he says, you know what? We don't need atomic bomb to destroy Israel or Haifa. We can just use ammonium nitrate to do that. He was laughing about that.
That is a scary prospect. Amir and Tal, thank you very much for being with us to give some background on this. Thank you so much.